Yo, how you doing, man?
I'm blessed, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Happy Friday. Feeling good. Made it to the end of the week. School's officially out, so that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, man. School being officially out is always a go.
Yes.
But the work for a school leader is never over. And so, I'm pretty sure you got some things on the horizon that are gonna force you to work all summer, but hopefully, you can take some time in order to have some self-care time because I think that's extremely important for us to come back recharged and ready to go. And so, what you got planned, man? What summer? What's it gonna look like for you?
Man. Well, I'm going to a conference in Boston
Yeah.
next week. I'll be there for a couple days, and then I'm gonna stay in that area. I'm gonna go to Cape Cod with my family,
Mm,
so that'll be
mhm.
nice. Enjoy some sand and beaches and some a little better weather than here, hopefully, for a little while, and then kind of back to it after that. Got summer school starting up, and prepping for the new school year because it's a different pace. It feels different. It's a lot more kind of relaxed, not bound by the time of the schedule of the school day, but at the same time, there's still a lot to do. So,
Yeah.
uh,
I
but
don't
yeah,
think people. I don't think people understand one how much goes into preparation for the school year, right? And then using
mhm,
that time during the summer in order to kind of get ready for those things. You got professional development for teachers and staff. Um, you got all kinds of on the operation side, which folks never get to see, and those are the
right,
unheralded saviors of schools, in which
absolutely,
you're coming in to make sure that kids from day one have everything they need in terms of having all the material, having ordered all the stuff, and so like shout out to operations side, the
yeah,
operations side of schools.
absolutely, absolutely.
So, bro, couple things we need to talk about, right? We need to
All
talk
right.
about a couple things today. First things first. If you're in the audience, say hi or something like that, so we know you're here. Um, but the Knicks, man, what's your thoughts?
Yo, let's go. I am excited. Leon Rose, I was unfamiliar with your game. I take back anything that I might have said, but he has figured some things out that at first I didn't think were possible. Getting Mikal Bridges, keeping OG Ananobi, that is a tough team. It's matched up well against Boston, and so we'll see how it plays out. But at first I was surprised when I saw all the number of draft picks, and me being like a suffering Knicks fan, those draft picks are usually pretty low. Top 10, top 15, but
Yeah,
the way that we're moving, those picks are going to be like high 20s for a
yeah,
while, and that's actually not as big of a compromise
yeah,
for our future as one might think. And then he came back in the draft, got a whole grip of new second round picks. I was like,
yeah,
man,
yeah,
they're figuring it out. They're figuring
yeah,
it out. And so I'm really excited. I'm really excited. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So you make an excellent point, and so I don't think a lot of people are really understanding. If you're putting together a team such as this with the construction that the way that they have constructed it with the Villanova four and whoever else comes in as role players, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to pick high. Chances are, every year for the next 5 to 7 years, you're going to be picking from like 25 to 30 if we're not injured, right? If we're not facing any kind of injuries or anything like that,
Right.
it's definitely going to be a low pick. And then you give away a second rounder in order to get five more second rounders. So think about how that looks in terms of like from 25 to 30 and then from 30 to 40 because you're in that range in terms of the picks that you're getting back. So
Mm-hmm.
you really didn't give up much. And I know every time people hear, five first round picks or what four first round picks in a trade swap, the initial thinking is always, damn, you gave away five picks for this person, but like you really didn't. You really didn't give
Right.
up that much in
Yeah.
terms of
Yeah.
talent. And
Yeah.
then with the amount of cats that are coming into the second round that are like producing, right? You're getting a lot of really good picks. If you're scouting the way that you're supposed to be scouting, you're getting some
Yep.
really good some really good guys. And
Yeah,
so, and
dude's gonna
then
try
you can get
second round.
you can get a low character, number one pick overall that has the talent to be the number one pick overall, but low character, and
Yeah.
and you can surround him with the Villanova 4, and and there you go. He becomes high character. So
Yeah. Yeah, I
what do
think
you
it's a
think
good.
about Bronny? What do you think about this Bronny pick with LA?
Yo, you know, I am happy for LeBron. I think that's like ultimate dad goals to use your leverage and the legacy that you created for your family. I think Bronny has more basketball IQ than probably most other players in the draft. He has so much experience just by being close to the game in that way. Should he have gotten the pick? I don't know. There are probably some other folks who could have snuck in there 55, but I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for his family, for everything they've gone through the last year with the cardiac arrest and everything. So it's a big moment for them, and we'll see. I mean, he's just like the scrutiny is just gonna level up. Like it's like now he's in. Then it's like summer league. How is he gonna do? Yeah. Then it's gonna be like, when is he ever gonna get any minutes? Like probably not for a while. And then he's not gonna meet expectations, which are already unattainable because his dad is like, top 3 greatest basketball players of all time. So
understood.
But I think it's exciting.
I'm happy for Bronny, right? I'm extremely happy for Bronny. I'm happy for LeBron as well. Happy for his mom. Happy for LeBron's mom, man. This is like legacy building. And then I take it one step further. Not even thinking about the realm of sports, but just thinking about just like corporate America, thinking about private firms or whatever. Like your goal is to build a legacy so that your kids can come and take over the business, right? And so this should be no different than that. In terms of like how people are screwed, like because even if you think about the Lakers in their offices, right? Like the CEO, like it was Jerry Buss and then Jenny. Like so, like you're handing it down in terms of like people that are coming in that are going to be more than capable of holding the torch. And so when I think about Bronny's game, bro, I liken his game to McBride's game, like McBride from West Virginia. Like they are similar players. Except Bronny may even be better on the defensive end. So, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens under the development of your kid. I wish Melo would have had the opportunity to play with his son because I feel like his son is gonna definitely be really good as well. But a shout out to Bronny, shout out to Rich Paul for putting this together. Like, I heard Rich Paul was calling organizations like, hey, don't pick Bronny because he ain't coming. He go to Australia.
Really?
He's like, man, he going to Australia. He ain't coming. So don't pick Bronny. What other things are you seeing around the league that you're like, man, this was good or this was bad?
I thought that Memphis picking up Zach Edey at 9 was a smart move. I think that guy, he's got. If the Knicks could have done something to get a backup rookie center that has those tools, he's just he's ready to start in the league. Kind of like
on every level. He's been a winner.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got the right mentality. He's got good footwork. What's his name? Lively from the Mavs. I think he was a rookie center. Or Gafford. Lively. And he was able to come in and contribute immediately, and I think that's going to be a good fit for him. Catching loss from Ja and all that. I think people thought that he went a little high, but I think he's got good potential. So we'll see.
Definitely.
Oh, go ahead.
No, because I'm thinking about OG. I think OG was overpriced to give him a max deal, but I do know that the Sixers were going to give him that money, and so we had to do what we needed to do. My question for you is Hartenstein, because we also picked another Black German as the last pick of the draft.
Right.
For those of you who don't know, Isaiah Hartenstein is an African American. I'm sorry, Afro-German. He's black.
Yeah. Yep. That's it.
But what do you think about the last pick?
I thought that was smart, and it's like all of the international players, because they don't play in the NCAA, you don't get that other opportunity to really see them in action, and it's kind of hard to compare. So I didn't think that there were any other good options that high up, and then I saw this guy's reel, and I was like, oh, he's got some tools. He can develop and contribute. And so they made good with those last second round trades to get some backup support. Because I don't think Jericho Sims is developing the way we thought he was going to. So
don't say that, man. I'm sure there's somebody watching this show that's a Jericho Sims fan. But so listen, so it's interesting that you say that, because like right now the only position that the Celtics have that I feel like we can't defend is Porzingis right now. Yeah. And so bringing this guy in as the last pick gives you a body to put on Porzingis. And again, I think you're right. At 7'2", Porzingis shooting from the outside, I don't think Jericho Sims can defend that.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
And Mitch is not the right person for that either. Out there in 3-point land. So we'll see. But it's getting me more and more excited for the season, man. It's like, it's great. It's a great time to be a Knicks fan.
Bro, so I mean, we end on this. I'm gonna be living in the Garden this year. So
yeah, me too.
Yo, they might as well pitch a tent for me. So, bro, last night, man, we had this debate. Joe Biden, the incumbent presidential candidate, and then we had Donald Trump, former president, prior to Joe Biden. So this is the second go at it. These two young men are vying to be president one more time. What are you thinking about?
That was tough. It was a tough watch. I thought the format of the debate was a little suspect, really trying to minimize the gaffes and like changing the format to favor the candidates in a way that is unprecedented. But ultimately it didn't hide anybody from seeing the reality, which is we've got a very loud liar and a very challenged truth teller. And that's not a good combination. And I don't know. It was hard. It was hard to keep on yesterday. I pull up the highlights and was trying to watch some analysis today, but it was just it's sad. It's like, this is the best we can do.
Yeah. This is really, really bad, bro. It's another one of those instances, and I feel like the last 3 elections have been these instances of we have to select between bad and worse. And I'm tired of having to do that, right? It started with America not being ready for a woman president with Hillary. And so you saw that debacle in terms of then shifting the blame and putting it on her. And then you saw the 4 years of the effects of that. But what I will say about this particular debate is that you saw some growth and maturity from Trump in terms of like how he was able to like be composed, how he was able to kind of stick to his strip in terms of answering and rebutting. And so that was interesting. I think whoever worked with him on his team had a clear understanding of the things that may have gone wrong during his first stay in president. And so it really taken it serious. I think the first time when he won, everybody was like, including him, was like, what the hell just happened? But this time, I feel like it's a little bit more calculated in terms of like, hey, here's some things that we need to do in order to kind of stick and move, and in order to like stay with regards to what they think needs to happen. And it's absolutely terrible because you already know, and a leopard does not change their spots. And so regardless of him saying all the things that need to be said in order for the American people to think that he's done or will do something different, when Trump gets in office, he's going to do the exact same thing.
Yeah, that's true. And the thing that I'm trying to remind myself about is, you don't, like, you vote for a president, sure, but you're voting for the administration and the infrastructure behind that person, the policies that they're going to support, and the things that they
Mhm.
want to build. And you have to be
Mhm.
down with that, because those things will get built regardless of the person that's the figurehead, or the
Yeah.
at the top of the ticket or whatever. And so I'm trying to remind myself of that, especially when I, just watching a debate like that and just having limited confidence, zero confidence in one candidate, but limited confidence in the other, and just wondering, reminding myself, like, okay, there's thousands of people that support this administration and build the
Yeah.
systems, and will carry out the policies, and will make the big decisions that will support the issues that I care about. And
Mhm. Mhm.
but I've never had to take that leap and to remind myself before, because so often the candidates themselves are really compelling and kind of tell the story or narrative that I can understand, I digest, and resonates with me. So that's
Yeah.
it's a tricky,
Yeah.
it's a tricky situation.
Bro, I mean, if you listen, I said it. What is it? Almost 8 years ago. If I'm a single issue voter, then there are some things that appeal to me about a Trump presidency. So if I'm thinking selfishly and I'm thinking about my 401k, I'm thinking about retirement, I'm thinking about all these things, I feel like my stock portfolio performed better under a Trump presidency.
Hmm.
So there are some things that are appealing in terms of single vote, but in terms of my humanity, in terms of like
Yeah,
what I want for the future generations or whatever, if I'm thinking about my students, if I'm thinking about my own kids, I just
yeah,
don't see how being under a Trump administration makes you a better person.
yeah, 1,000%, a thousand
Yeah.
percent.
But you got 50% of the country that think the total opposite, or
Yeah,
if it's not 50, it's getting there. And
yeah,
so
it's getting
if you
there.
if you're a Democratic strategist, sorry to put that on you right now, but if you are a Democratic strategist, like how are you stoking the base for them to come out? Like, because again, this whole fight for democracy thing is getting a little tired because I don't think it's gonna work. So like, what are you
Yeah.
saying?
I mean, I think part of it is reminding people about the infrastructure that is built, and how fragile it is, and when political parties kind of change hands for leading the country, and the rights and things that you wouldn't even think would be on the table as being possibly changed or eliminated. There's a lot of talk, beyond Roe v. Wade, related to, like, IVF, and things that people thought were private issues that weren't going to make it to
Brown,
the forefront of. Yeah,
Brown.
Brown v. Board is on the chopping block, and like these are things that have been settled law for half a century or longer, that are now in the potential crosshairs. And you don't. I think Obama, in a lot of ways, was able to run on um, a
Mhm.
hope campaign or platform, to through optimism and a vision of America that hadn't yet been realized. I don't. These candidates don't have that luxury now, and everything is kind of based on deficit, holding on to what you still have, and like the fear of the unknown, as opposed to a hope for a future that's better. And I think, unfortunately, that's the strategy that will get the most people to, who are, especially those who are like disengaged or disillusioned, or don't think that this is gonna be worthwhile. Like, it'll get them. There's a better chance of getting them out to actually vote and change the tides, especially in those battleground states.
Yeah,
But
and again, like when we think about our country, man, I hate the fact that we have battleground states. I hate the
yeah,
fact that there's only a couple of states that decide what an election is. Right? Like
right.
I want everybody's vote to count, and in order for everybody's vote to count, there's some things that may need to change. The electoral college may need to go, and those are
Yeah,
all things and conversations that we need to start having because when you have a state like Michigan that can decide the turn of the tides. Like Michigan might be the worst state in in the nation, and they decide who the president is. Well, no,
Yeah.
I don't want to take that. I don't want to take that away from Florida. But anyway, you get my point, man. It's just like, man, like what? Like I don't care about what happens in Florida, but then knowing that Florida can decide an election of the next 4 years in terms of who's going to represent us as a country. But then I think, you know, from a global perspective, you got folks that are already, you know, moving away from the US dollar, already like looking at us in terms of us being weak, when we used to be a sense of strength. Like everybody looked at us like, hey, that's America. And I'm sure that, you know, there's a lot of things that are not happening in the world based off of the fact that America is still mighty. But I just these last 8 years and then this next 4 years are gonna be very telling in terms of just like how the world looks at us. So in terms of emerging candidates, because I hope that this would be the last of the grumpy old men. And so in terms of emerging candidates, like who looks good for you on the Democratic side?
Oh man, you know, I'm not sure. I think there's a big gap, obviously, between these septuagenarians and especially, you know, the folks who are just now eligible to run for president. I think that the generation of lawmakers that are kind of in that middle area, like the Cory Booker kind of that age and generation, I think that they are trying to hold it down, trying to keep it together. I think even like there are still remnants of the idea that we can unite across party lines to create coalitions to affect change. I think that's something that Cory Booker has always had as part of his political agenda, which I think is the right idea, in my opinion. But I don't know if he has the same level of appeal that he might have had maybe 8 years ago.
8 years ago, yeah. The Spartacus moment. Shout out Cory Booker. So one of my worries about a Trump presidency is who he would pick for education secretary. And so right now it's looking like on the Republican side you have the cat in Oklahoma, Ryan Walters, that would be, you know, the sure fit in terms of like where things are trying to go. Oklahoma just passed Bibles in the classrooms or whatever, which is one step beyond the 10 Commandments being posted in the classroom, right? And so now we have to contend with someone like that in office. And I just don't know if I'm ready for that. So I don't know if 4 years from now I'm going to go do a case study in Finland and come back and bring some exciting things about what's happening in Finland with education. I don't know, bro.
Yeah. It's pretty dire. I'm nervous. Because I just don't think that there are a lot of there's not a lot of optimism right now when it comes to, you know, this election. Like the best case scenario doesn't feel like that great. It doesn't feel like it's going to have that much positive momentum. The worst case scenario is very bad for a lot of people that I care about, our students, our families, my broader community, and so, you know, there's a lot of risk there. But you know, I could be proved wrong, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I like Gavin, man. You know, like, you know, I know he gets a rough go in California, you know, outside of the major cities, but I like Gavin. I don't necessarily know if I want a socialist United States because somebody's got to pay for that shit. But I like Gavin Newsom, man. So
I do like Gavin Newsom.
Final thoughts, man. Where are you?
Oh man, you know, I think the debate and the election coming up. This debate was a reminder that these things matter, that voting matters, that showing up both at the the local elections in your community, all the way up to the big stuff. It all contributes to us living a better and more just society. And I'll be the first to admit that I was slacking a little bit. Got a little too busy thinking about other stuff, and these big existential questions are still really important. So I'm motivated to help try to turn the tide this summer.
Yeah, I love that, bro. So my final thoughts are for fellow Republicans, right? So like fellow Republicans, there is a large tent of conservatism, and under that tent, you got folks that are right or center, and then you got folks that are far right, and those are two very different continuums of conservatism. And so I think those folks that are far right are alienating those folks that are right or center. And so for me, this election, I'm looking more towards being a Biden voter than I am with being able to accept the 4 years of Trump, even though if I was voting on a single issue, I would 100% vote for Trump, but I'm not. I got kids, I got babies that I got to look after, that are extensions of me in terms of the communities that we're trying to build. And even though I got to hold my nose in order to pull the lever for this election, I'm willing to do so for the sake of democracy.
Yeah. Well,
so
thank you.
That's us, bro. We
All
out.
right.
See you next week.
Peace.